Sometimes one decision is all it takes to change the entire future of a franchise. One moment of hesitation, a wrong trade, and bang, you handed away the next superstar of the league without knowing it. The difference between dynasty and disaster, it can come down to one move, one front office screw up, or even one draft pick that should have never happened. GMs can scout all year long, build a culture, even have a superstar locked in, but if you hand the wrong player to the right situation, you just gave away your future without realizing the disastrous consequences to follow. Now, with all these superstars still remaining, second round of the 2025 playoffs, those mistakes are still haunting teams who thought they were smart at the time look absolutely stupid now. Starting with the Dallas Mavericks, letting go of superstar New York Knicks savior, the one and only Jalen Brunson. Could you imagine if the Mavericks still had JB, Luka, and Porzingis? It's only been 3 seasons since the signing to the Mecca. Now, the two-time national champion solidified himself the greatest Knick of the century. Yes, he surpassed Carmelo Anthony, who won 1 playoff series, 6.5 seasons in the Big Apple. Brunson, constantly carrying his team on his back, the Kia Clutch Player of the Year, continues on with his clutchness, overcoming late difficulties, barely squeezing by the Detroit series, only to pull his entire bag of tricks, resulting in countless one-possession wins, looking to dethrone the defending champs, which would be one of the greatest upsets we'll ever see. It's always a gamble when teams hand out extensions to guys on verge of completing their rookie contracts. Brunson himself was more than happy to sign 4 years $55, was told the Mavs declined to offer him that money before all the Knicks rumor occurred. His agent realized he could get more in free agency. Dallas themselves wanting to wait until 2025 games into the season to see.
I really did want to stay in Dallas. I think before the season, before my 4th season in Dallas, my last season in Dallas, we try to extend our contract, whatever we can get. The most we can get was like 4 years and $55 million. It's funny because my agent was like, "Man, you can do so much. You can get more. You can get more." Yeah, so the deal came on the table after the trade deadline. I was like, no, I think I've outgrown that now.
Right.
In 17 games without Luka, the 25-year-old averaged over 20 points, 7.5 assists. If he hasn't proven enough, come playoff time, it appeared Dallas was going to lose round 1 to a Utah team at full strength. Without Luka, game 2, Brunson showed flashes of his future self, dropped the jaw-dropping 41 points, single-handedly led his weaker team to victory, followed by much of the same game 3, stealing one on the road with a 31-piece, introducing his greatness to the NBA world, put up superstar averages for a 6-game series, never failed to score below 23. The whole narrative was still Luka finally winning his first playoff series, and Jalen, always viewed as a sidekick in Dallas, follow up with respectable numbers, upsetting the 64-win Suns, helped the Mavs advance to the conference finals, proving why he's for real. The disgraceful Mavs front office shot themselves in the foot, while plenty of teams willing to sign for his services, but after New York hired father Rick Brunson as an assistant, team president Leon Rose his former agent, there was never a doubt the 6'1" point guard was going to be a New York Knick, signed 4 years, $104 million, having that Bulldog winning mentality alongside head coach Thibodeau, became the primary ball handler, true number 1 option, set career highs of 24 points, 6 assists, led New York to its first playoff series win in over a decade, outplaying Donovan Mitchell, lost to Miami in the semis, but put up a fight, became the perfect New York superstar, an MVP candidate, averaged 28.7 points, had a 61-point masterpiece on the Spurs, tied the Knicks' 30-point game record in the season with 36, led his team to the 2 seed, played the postseason without second option Julius Randle, closed out Philly in 6. The loss of Mitchell Robinson and a banged-up OG Anunoby led to a 7-game series loss to the Pacers. Brunson continues to lead New York to new heights not seen since the 90s. It's a real possibility Jalen Brunson might just become the first Knick to get a statue outside the Garden when it's all said and done. Tyrese Haliburton, 2-game winners in the span of 3 games, from called most overrated to disrespected, using all the social media hate as fuel to greatness. The perfect Pacer franchise player team's been begging for after trading away All-Star Domantas Sabonis for the solid second-year point guard on the rise, but not guaranteed to be anything crazy because Sacramento had to choose between him versus De'Aaron Fox. They ultimately got rid of Hallie, and since he's gone, the team already hit its peak, being a first-round exit to no man's land. Sacramento might miss the playoffs for another decade straight, when Haliburton's Pacers are on verge to possibly making the conference finals in back-to-back seasons, something nobody thought possible. Everybody 6 months ago thought this was a 50-50 trade, when in reality, one of the most lopsided due to Sabonis' flaws being a defensive liability, already peaking, Kings choosing the guy that would eventually leave in Fox. Sabonis probably gone in less than 2 years. From owner Vivek passing on Doncic, the Kings franchise will continue remaining irrelevant with no hope in sight. Haliburton's numbers might not be glamorous, but the true definition of a steady, controlled discipline, pure floor general, not seen since prime Chris Paul, one of the easiest stars to build around, a clutch performer down the stretch, perfect duo with coach Rick Carlisle's offense, gets the most out of his team, looking every bit of what 90s Reggie Miller was doing, many times April and May, already having more iconic playoff moments than some Hall of Famers, continuously pulling off near impossible comebacks only to win in dramatic fashion, draining 10 of 11 go-ahead shots in the final 2 minutes these playoffs. Haliburton's the best offensive player to average less than 20 points for the regular season. One of those greats whose raw numbers doesn't tell his full dominance. The most selfless player in the league, elite playmaking, can dominate a whole game, being the team's 5th or even 7th leading scorer. Always has the pull-up threes, a master shutting defenses with the timely floaters, took Brook Lopez out of the series, possibly the main reason ending the Giannis Bucks era. Longtime Pacers fans knowing the league don't care about their small market success, but as long as number 0 balling out, the franchise just a top 30 player away from truly contending for a title. Organization deserves all the praise for surrounding the proper young guys in a quick rebuild. His trash talk might rub many the wrong way, but just embracing himself, his Pacers don't need to feel guilty of other teams' injuries, regardless on who's hurt. Indiana's handling their business, proving sleepers wrong again and again. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this season's MVP, will forever have the cursed Clippers regret trading him as a throw-in piece to the Paul George trade alongside the gazillion first-round picks. Trading George for SGA alone still would have been a robbery. If it wasn't for Kawhi's needy demands, the Clippers might have won their championship by now. Instead, way off P, left for nothing last free agency. At least the Clippers dodged the bullet there. Summer 2019 will forever position the small market Thunder, turning them to potential dynasty. OKC, after fighting to contend, even after Kevin Durant's departure, Paul George simply wasn't the answer, resulting in 2 straight first-round exits, only to become one of the most overrated stars of this generation. The brilliant mind of Sam Presti sabotaged LA's draft picks. Clippers franchise even traded up to land Kentucky's SGA. Nobody could have predicted Shai to be one of the top 5 players in the game. Clippers went all in, but failed to make it out of the West, while the Thunder traded Russ for an established good leader and superstar winning player CP3. His immense impact on SGA's development not talked about enough. Shai later modeled his mid-range game after the point guard, a master getting to his spots. Teams suffered for 2 years of rebuilding, but ensured Shai was gonna have a deep squad afterwards. Thunder kept improving each year, only to shut down their future MVP, both late 21 and 22 season. All of a sudden, became a 30-point scorer, very methodical offensively, one of the best mid-range shots, the most consistent bucket getter in the league today, good help defender, a master at drawing fouls, making him completely unguardable on the court. SGA already much better than any version of Paul George. At this point, it's not a matter of when OKC wins the title, but the question is, how many will they have the next 10 years? This still the youngest team in the league, might be hoisting the Larry O 5 weeks from now. Jalen Williams, 12th pick in the 2022 draft, lots of similarities to Scottie Pippen, having all the intangibles, can do a bit of everything at 6'6", established himself the second best player on OKC, only in year 3. The Santa Clara standout also reminds many of Paul George, at this point much better than the 34-year-old. Being one of the Clippers' unprotected first, the duo of J-Dubs and SGA by start of last season already surpassed Kawhi and PG in talent. Williams now arguably second best player in his class behind Paolo Banchero. The third best very well could be teammate Chet Holmgren, OKC's original pick. This franchise has dynasty written all over them. Of course, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, both selected with Brooklyn's draft picks unprotected, trading for their past their primes Paul George and Kevin Garnett disaster. Both already done their jobs winning a title in Boston. Regardless of the results this season, credit to the Celtics legend Paul Pierce convincing KG to waive his no-trade clause to join Brooklyn, setting up Boston for long-term success. Even if Brown and Tatum only win one title together, they proved themselves as best players in both their draft class. Former Nets owner Mikhail Protorov wanted the best available team, not caring for any long-term failures. If things failed, just like the modern Phoenix Suns' Matt Ishbia, Tatum and Brown also won more playoff games each than the Nets' NBA franchise existence. Brooklyn, meanwhile, looking to rebuild again. For how many times now? An irrelevant sorry franchise with no hope in competing anytime soon, giving up every one of your future assets for washed up star players, always a major risk. Look at what's happening to Phoenix after getting Bradley Beal. Honorable mentions down the road could be Utah trading Donovan Mitchell if they don't amount to anything and fail to rebuild by the end of this decade. Those Jazz with him and Gobert probably one good player away from true contenders. If D. Mitch helped Cleveland win a title, he'll be celebrated as a top 3 Cavs franchise player all time. Pascal Siakam and expiring for the Raptors helped elevated the Pacers, a proven number 2 option. On his way to another conference finals, at least Toronto used the trade piece to get Brandon Ingram a year later.